Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be showcasing and discussing some interesting hidden advantages of playing Fortnite on a controller. One of the biggest debates that's gone on for what seems like forever in the Fortnite community is the advantages of playing on controller versus the advantages of playing on mouse and keyboard. The most commonly mentioned advantages for controller players are things like aim assist and the act of really taking advantage of it by LT/L2 spamming. And for mouse and keyboard, the advantages are things like more keys, meaning better custom binds, more control over your aim since you're using a mouse, scroll wheel edit reset, and some other things as well. But those are all relatively obvious and have been talked about and debated a million different times already. The purpose of this video is to show you guys some of the significant in-game advantages of controller Fortnite that very few people even know about. I'm really not even sure if the things you guys are going to see were intentionally put into the game by Epic, or if they're more of glitches that they don't even know about. And obviously, I hope this goes without saying, but I'm definitely not trying to start some kind of debate here about controller versus mouse and keyboard. It's simply to showcase some interesting differences between the two peripherals that you probably didn't know about, and discuss their impact and why they even exist in the first place. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first hidden advantage of playing Fortnite on a controller was actually discovered about a week ago. A Reddit user by the name of Elijah Yair posted a video onto the Fortnite subreddit titled, "Controller has less recoil than a mouse even without aim assist." Now, when I first saw that title, I thought it was going to be some kind of joke or maybe a meme about aim assist or L2 spam, but that actually wasn't the case at all. The entire video we posted is about 2 minutes long of all different types of testing, but I don't want to show you all of it since that's kinda long, so I'll just quickly show you guys a specific part of it right now.
Central and eastern parts of Kansas will very probably be cloudy in the morning, and then western Kansas will begin to get increasing cloudiness by tomorrow afternoon. Today, however, very, very pleasant. 73 in City, 70 reported by Dodge City Liberal, 72.
So what you just saw there pretty definitively shows that for whatever reason, when playing with a controller on Fortnite, your weapon actually gets less recoil than it does if you play with a mouse. Now, even after I watched that video, I was still at least a tad bit skeptical. I basically thought something along the lines of, wow, in that clip the weapon definitely did have less recoil when being shot with a controller, but maybe it was something else that potentially caused it. Maybe it was an issue with the specific weapon he used, or maybe his mouse had some kind of a problem, or maybe it was even a PC-only thing. So what I did was hopped onto my Xbox, hooked up a mouse, and tried a very similar yet much more simple test as an attempt to kind of confirm his results. I decided to use a totally different weapon that actually has way more recoil than an AR, so it would be even more obvious and easier to see if controller actually had less recoil, and here are the results. So if it wasn't obvious enough from the first video you saw, I think that second test proves 100% with absolutely no potential doubt that shooting with a controller really does have less recoil than shooting with a mouse. With the controller, the dot in the middle of the crosshair went about halfway to the top of the square, and then with the mouse, it basically went all the way to the top, and a bunch of the bullets even started hitting the top part of the metal wall. So much like the question I posed in the beginning of this video, I'm really wondering why this is the case. Did Epic intentionally do this as a way to make controller aim more balanced when compared to mouse aim? Or is this similar to what we saw with something like FPS affecting fire rate, where it legitimately was a glitch that Epic just didn't know existed, and they fixed it relatively quickly after it was made public within the Fortnite community? I personally hope that the second option is the case, because as a controller player myself, I understand that mouse aim is almost always going to be better, but this just seems like a really odd way to try to bridge that gap. The second important question that needs to be asked is how long has this feature actually been in the game? The first possibility is that it's simply been in the game since the very beginning of Fortnite, and I personally think that's the most likely option. However, if that actually is the case, I just find it crazy that it took almost 2 years for someone to notice this and then share it with the public. The other possibility is that it's something that either intentionally or accidentally was added into the game in a certain update. Last week, I made a video about how aim assist was recently changed without being announced, so maybe it's the same deal with this. We see random changes and glitches added into updates all the time, so maybe this is just another one to add to the list. The next hidden advantage of controller Fortnite actually revolves around building. Now in general, due to the speed and precision of mouse and keyboard, combined with the fact that each building piece has its own bind, mouse and keyboard building should definitely be easier than controller building, and that's certainly true in the vast majority of situations. However, when it comes to building after shooting, it's actually quicker and more responsive on controller compared to keyboard and mouse. A user by the name of The Lunch Tray showcases this perfectly in a short little clip that I'll show you guys right now. So in that clip, he first built with a controller, which seemed really responsive and placed the structures incredibly quickly. Then, when he moves the keyboard and mouse, it definitely seemed a considerable amount slower. Much like with the recoil test on mouse versus controller, I'd also tried this one myself. Unfortunately, in this scenario, since I've literally never played keyboard and mouse in any game before, I feel like I definitely wasn't able to get any kind of conclusive results. And that's simply because I couldn't jump, shoot, and then build a floor and ramp on mouse and keyboard anywhere near the speed I could on controller. So I guess we'll just have to trust Trey on this one. What's interesting about this advantage is that there isn't a definitive answer as to why it actually occurs. A lot of people that saw this clip commented on it, theorizing that it was the result of the setting Builder Pro builds immediately, which is obviously a controller-only thing. However, I'm not really sure that's actually what's going on here. The way you would jump, shoot, and then build a floor and ramp on mouse and keyboard requires pretty much the exact same amount of button presses as it does on controller. So although it's possible that there's some kind of glitch involving Builder Pro here, mouse and keyboard basically already has what Builder Pro builds immediately does because each build has a separate keybind. Another theory that was bouncing around as an attempt to explain this was that Trey was possibly playing on console in these clips, even though that isn't the case. Apparently, if you play mouse and keyboard on any type of console, there's a very noticeable amount of input lag that occurs. The worst part is that it basically can't be fixed due to technological limitations, and it makes building, shooting, and various other actions in Fortnite feel very uncomfortable. So I guess you could consider that another advantage of playing on controller as long as you stick to console. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. I want to know what you guys specifically think about controller Fortnite having less recoil on weapons than mouse and keyboard Fortnite. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.